If you've been watching our videos for any amount of time, you've probably seen me promoting Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia as a great place to live with consumer conveniences and a lot of the things that Asia has to offer. And as we are moving part of our company to the UAE as we speak, I've been starting to spend more time in Dubai in recent months. And I've been thinking about the comparisons between these two Asian cities, which both offer tax friendliness, consumer conveniences, and an attractiveness to foreigners who may want to relocate. So today I'm going to compare these two cities and share some things that you might not have thought about when looking where to live overseas. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson. I'm the author of the book Nomad Capitalist and the founder of the company Nomad Capitalist, where we help 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs and investors legally go where you're treated best. You can learn more at nomadcapitalist.com. We've got about 1,500 blog articles we've written over the years up there too. Now let's talk about a tale of two cities, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, Dubai in the UAE. Dubai gets a lot of attention for being a tax-free mecca, for being a place with a lot of luxuries, a lot of opportunities for people to go and live there. And we've helped people here at Nomad Capitalist relocate to both. Both have offered over the years residence programs. Malaysia has a number of opportunities with its Labuan company set up, with its now suspended MM2H program, and a number of different ways that you can get into Malaysia. The UAE has the ability to form a company and get residence, buy real estate and get residence. They've been liberalizing some of those rules to make it easier to come and live in the UAE. And both are pretty tax friendly. Again, one tax free, one with a territorial tax system that requires a little bit of getting used to, a little bit of planning, but can be relatively straightforward. So today I want to compare the two cities on 7 different points. And the first one is the people. One of the things that I've always loved about Malaysia is you have really nice people. Now, it's also a very multicultural place. They both score highly in that regard, of course. Malaysia, because they have 3 main cultures in the country between the Chinese, the Indians, and the Malays. UAE, of course, the Emiratis, along with many people who move there from all around the world. So a little bit different, but the same multicultural vibe. Of course, Malaysia also has a lot of immigrants from different places, both the West, places like Iran, North Africa, what have you. But I've always found people in Malaysia to be extremely nice, extremely pleasant, and I found really just to be in a good mood when I'm there. Now, when I look at the UAE, what the UAE has is a bit more glamour. And so if you go to, let's say, the top mall, Pavilion in Malaysia, Dubai Mall in Dubai, you're going to see more glamour. You're going to see more beautiful people, more really beautifully dressed people in Dubai. There's just definitely a sense of luxury, whereas Malaysia is a bit more understated. You're going to have that greater sense of luxury in Dubai. What I think separates that is you're going to pay a bit more for that privilege in Dubai, so that's definitely worth keeping in mind. But if you're looking to be surrounded by a certain sex appeal, I think a lot of people don't understand just how liberal some parts of Dubai can be, and you're going to have that kind of people. I certainly find people in Malaysia to be a bit nicer, although you can find a lot of nice people in Dubai, of course, as well. Now, the second factor is prestige, which is something that I think some people who are 7 or 8, 9, 10-figure entrepreneurs look for in a place. They want to be around where they can meet other successful people. They want to be in a place that sounds good. I have had a couple of different entrepreneurs who've worked with said, I want to tell my customers, my clients, I'm in a place that they understand. And so if you look at where we run our company from in the past, as we shift, there is certainly a sex appeal to saying we are in Dubai. And I think people really like that. I can certainly tell you from a recruiting standpoint, the idea of being in Dubai has resonated with people. And again, there's a sex appeal. There's a prestige to that doesn't exist in Malaysia, for example. Now, one of the things we've talked about here at Nomad Capitalist is who cares? Certainly if you're running a business, again, I'm seeing the benefits of having that Dubai presence, having that Dubai letterhead, as it were. From a living point of view, I think that the more underrated place, you get a lot of bang for your buck, as it were, being in a place that is perhaps a bit underrated, that doesn't have the prestige. I can tell you, I once had a real estate agent in Kuala Lumpur where I think their child spit up on their shirt, and they didn't go and change the shirt before the showing, and I had just been kind of sitting there, for a couple hours. It doesn't really particularly bother me, but it's not the kind of thing that perhaps lends itself to prestige. And so, from the third point of view, people often ask about. We work with a lot of single people. as well as a lot of families, but the single people ask, where is the dating scene better? And I can tell you one of the things that is a concern in Kuala Lumpur for some people is the dating scene. Now, there definitely is one. There's a local dating scene, there's an international dating scene. You can be in that world. Certainly, I think after the pandemic, you've seen some people leave Malaysia. I'm not sure how many will be returning, some of the expats. And so the dating scene there has been a bit more difficult than you would find in perhaps Thailand. Again, I've always said it's navigable. I've never really found it to be that bad, but not in that scene anymore. You go to Dubai, certainly more of a thriving scene, certainly more of a single scene, certainly better opportunities in that regard. I actually know people who live in Malaysia who are moving to Dubai for that very reason, including actual Malaysians. So definitely something, if you're single, probably going to be more to do, probably going to be a more thriving scene, again, a sexier scene in a place like Dubai. Number 4, services. This is where I think, quite frankly, it's a push. And I think Dubai being a great brand name, they've done a great job of marketing themselves as this global place. The airline certainly has helped them. Malaysian Airlines has done really not enough to promote the country. They're basically a regional airline at this point. In fact, most of their long-haul service is offered by Emirates. So I think that partially because of that, people don't really see Malaysia as this global place, and they don't get the respect they deserve for being good at providing services and having good service. Whereas, Emirates has, quite frankly, I think been a little bit ballyhooed in terms of this amazing airline. I've quite frankly never had thrilling experiences on Emirates. I've always been a little bit disappointed, as a matter of fact. But, Emirates has exposed Dubai, and they've positioned Dubai, rather, as this great brand where people think the service is great. What I can tell you is, if you go to, again, Pavilion Mall, theoretically, in Kuala Lumpur, and you go to a shop, you're going to get the same level of service that you're going to get in Dubai. People imagine, it's the same kind of thing that they imagine when they go to a Swiss bank. They think some guy from Switzerland is going to be helping them with their Swiss bank account, and the reality is, the person's going to be from somewhere else. Nothing wrong with that somewhere else, but you're paying for the Swiss brand, and you're getting a guy who may not even speak fluent English, who may not even speak fluent German or French. He's just a guy they brought in because, it's cheaper. And again, I'm all for that. I'm all for, outsourcing and offshoring and all these kinds of things. But, the brand name of Dubai certainly is there. And so, if you're going to buy that expensive sweater at the expensive store, you may still struggle to speak in English, maybe even more than you would in Malaysia. So I think that, in terms of services and in service, I find them to, quite frankly, be a push. Now, the 5th factor that came up as being one that's important to people is proximity. And on this one, Dubai, I think, clearly wins for most people, perhaps unless you're in Australia. But what I'm hearing increasingly from entrepreneurs is time zone constraints. And so if you're from Europe, the move to Dubai, which is on GMT +4, might be, 1 or 2 or 3 hours ahead of where you're from. Not a big deal, pretty easy to handle. From the US and North America, I hear that same concern. Dubai is certainly a bit of a stretch. In fact, if you look at Dubai to Los Angeles, you're kind of on opposite ends of the spectrum. But Dubai, for most people, easier time zone to work with. One of the things that I do when I'm in Asia is I'm constantly up until midnight or 1 in the morning, where maybe I wake up and kind of slowly get into my day, enjoy myself more in the day, and then I really start getting into a lot more work in the afternoon, have dinner, and then come back and work late at night. A lot of people have told me recently they don't like that. And so again, unless you're speaking to that Australian market or somewhere else in that part of the world, Dubai definitely more convenient for flying in any direction, especially for those who don't have access to fly through the US or Canada or don't want to fly through the US. I know for years, even as a US citizen, I avoided that. If you're in Asia, you're basically always going one way. It's fewer options. Again, if you want to fly through the US and you have that. But Dubai probably better located for a lot of people. The other consideration here is cost, number 6. In this one, Kuala Lumpur wins hands down. Dubai seems a little bit needlessly pricey to me in the sense of you've got plenty of land, you have plenty of places to build. I appreciate a show. I like putting on a show. I like hosting great parties. We just hosted our sold-out Nomad Capitalist live event. I like hosting shows, and I love the showmanship. Do I want to pay for that on a daily basis? Maybe, maybe not. Kuala Lumpur to me does not have to be cheap. There are plenty of, you can go to a French restaurant. You can go to, you can buy nice wines. You can, do things in a very luxurious way. You can certainly spend. I'm not saying go to a place just to be cheap, but I do feel that there are certain places in Dubai, there's just not a lot of value. And certainly when you look at, Let's say you want to go out somewhere and have a drink, you're going to have the added issue of that's going to be more challenging in a lot of places where you're going to go in your daily life, or you're going to pay a great premium for it. Not to say you don't pay a premium for certain things such as cars, alcohol, etc. in Malaysia, certainly a much more affordable place to live. And the last factor, number 7, is freedom. Now, I think Dubai is a great place to go. I've never felt unfree there, but I will say there are certainly more rules. And so on the same level as Singapore, for example, there is an order. You have more order, just the way the roads work, the medians are beautifully landscaped. But with that order, as I've always said, comes a trade-off, which is that there are more rules to follow. If you want something that's a bit more raw, a bit more open, where you feel a bit more free and you can just do things as you want, definitely Malaysia is going to be a better place. And so just look at the laws. Certainly more open for going out in public, and touching and that kind of thing. Definitely Malaysia is going to be more open in terms of, what you can say and what you can do. And so, certainly there is an order to Dubai that I think is great. If you're looking to be a bit more raw, then Malaysia is definitely going to appeal to you. So what I want to ask now is, what factors do you think we missed that should be considered? And if you've been to both of these places, or if you live in one of them, leave a comment below. What do you like about Dubai? What do you like about KL? Or what do you not like about one of them? I want to hear what you have to think, and if you want us to make more content like this. So people ask, Andrew, how do I get the most out of Nomad Capitalist? How do I begin my Nomad Capitalist journey? The first thing people do is they start right where you're at. They watch YouTube, they listen to podcasts, they read articles at nomadcapitalist.com. We've spent years creating thousands of pieces of free content so that you can get the vibe from someone who's actually done this, from someone who's actually been in your shoes. What they'll do next, they'll get a copy of the book. You can find it on Amazon. It costs a few bucks, and while it's not going to give you all the secrets, it's going to, again, give you more of the vibe. You're going to learn a lot of the things that I've learned. You're going to learn some strategies you can employ, and you're going to get a lot further in your journey. From there, if you are the 7 or 8-figure entrepreneur investor, you can go to nomadcapitalist.com. You can click Become a Client. We're pretty busy these days, but we have availability to help a limited number of people who want to create a holistic plan, something that I think is so important. So if you want to do that, go to nomadcapitalist.com, click Become a Client, learn more about how it works and how we can help you.